I'm Marchant Johnson with Love Life Coaching. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 7 more sweet things that turn men on. So I recently did a video called 7 Sweet Things That Turn Men On, based on my conversations and interviews with hundreds of men over the last few years. I used to do interviews series called The Man Panel and did that for multiple years and interviewed many men during those series. And I've also interviewed hundreds of regular men just to understand a little bit more about what's going on in the hearts and minds of men, so that I can help my single women clients meet and attract the right man and have extraordinary relationships with them. So I'm just kind of sharing some of the things that men have shared with me that attracted them to their now wife or girlfriend. And these are not necessarily the things you would initially think of for, say, just the physical attraction and sexual attraction that a man might feel for a woman. Of course, a man's always going to notice a pretty woman walking down the street or in front of him. That's always going to be appealing. And yet I do think even though men are visual, a lot of times it can go a little deeper than that. And I just wanted to share with you some of the sweet things that men have shared with me that they love and adore about the women that they're with. So these are 7 that I'm adding to the 7 I did earlier, and I'll link that video in the description in case you want to check it out too, because this is the second set of 7. Okay, so let's start with number 7 and count down. Sound good? All right. Number 7 is your touch. So I'm not necessarily talking about really intimate or sexual touching. I'm just talking about a subtle touch on the arm, on the hand, taking a man's arm when you're walking down the street, and just kind of giving him a little touch or tap on the back of the arm, touching him on the shoulder if you happen to be behind him. This can actually be very intense for a man. It can actually be quite electrifying. So when I was thinking about this, and as I've had conversations with men over the years about this, I had this flashback to when I was a freshman in my university days. So this has been a while ago now. And I can remember this man asked me out for a date. And we were walking across the campus, the university campus, to go to this event. And it was wintertime, and this was like first or second date. And I can just remember I just kind of slipped my hand into his arm so that I could kind of like hold on to him as we walked, because it was kind of slippery and wet and wintertime and cold. And I can remember just feeling his body just like he like stood up a little bit taller. And I could tell that he was very pleased that I had touched him. Now, of course, in this day and age, and in any day and age, we want to be respectful about touch. We don't want to be inappropriate about our touch. And we want to respect people's personal boundaries. In a dating situation, though, sometimes a connection or a touch or in a relationship can mean so much to a man and can be a big turn on. So that's number 7. Number 6 is your lips. So men have told me over and over again that they find a woman's lips very sexy and could be a big turn on. And it's not just because he might be fantasizing about kissing you. Your lips smile, your lips talk. You might have some lovely lip gloss or lip color on your lips that looks very attractive. Your lips are also something that can be expressive in terms of the words coming out of your mouth. You can do a little whisper in his ear with your lips. So your lips can definitely be a big turn on. Now, some men love a bright red lip under certain circumstances. Some men love a more natural look with a woman. Most men like lips that look like that they would be kissable. And certainly that is something that a man is likely to be thinking about if he's really attracted to you. So those lips, use those lips for smiling and use those lips for speaking kind words, and use those lips in your favor of letting a man know that you're happy to see him, not only in what you say, but through your smile. Number 5 is your air of confidence. So confidence is known to be a big turn on for both men and women. In fact, in a lot of surveys, this isn't just from my research in talking to men, but in a lot of different surveys where they ask both women and men what they find attractive about someone, it's that air of confidence. Now, we're not talking about arrogance here. We're not talking about conceit. We're not talking about thinking you're better than someone else. We're talking about confidence, like being secure in your own skin, being comfortable in your own skin, knowing who you are, knowing that you're a woman of high value, that you're someone who deserves to be treated with respect, having the confidence to walk into a room that way, to hold yourself that way, and to literally have that be something that you embody. It comes from within, that you don't have to actually have like someone else reinforcing that all the time. You already know who you are. You already know that you have value and that the right person would be incredibly blessed and lucky to be with you. It's that kind of confidence. And that can be incredibly sexy and be quite a turn on. So that confidence, working to develop and maintain that kind of confidence that's not easily shattered under pressure or is not dependent upon what is or isn't happening with any man at any given time. Like you just know who you are, and that confidence comes from within. So that's number 5. Number 4 is your compliments to him. Now, one thing that men have shared with me is that many of them get very, very few compliments. Very few of them are the kind of men who are going to continually be told that they're really attractive or get compliments about their accomplishments or get compliments about who they are, character, or how they're showing up. And I think one of our basic human needs as human beings, not just for men, but for women also, is to feel like we're being noticed, that we're being seen and being appreciated by other people. And so men have told me that when a woman pays him a sincere compliment, that can be like something that like not only makes his day, but can stick with him for a very long time. I've had men say things to me like, this woman paid me a compliment, a sincere compliment, and it felt so good. And I still remember it all these years later. I think in the competitive world that men exist in, where a lot of their interactions with other men are more in the competitive nature or the slap on the back and the hey dude kind of interactions, they don't necessarily get a lot of positive feedback or compliments about who they are, what they do, how they look, something that you find attractive about them. Now, these things need to be sincere, and you don't need to overdo it with this. Yet, if you were to let a man know something that you find attractive about him or that it complements something about him, a lot of men would find this to be a really big turn on, and you would likely really make their day, as well as likely endear yourself to them, because they're going to feel good when they're around you. That's going to give them that good feeling when they're around you. That is a big turn on. Okay, so number 3 is your vulnerability. And this is a willingness to share a little bit about who you are. So when we think of vulnerability, a lot of times we think of it in terms of sharing things that we're maybe not the most proud of, or sharing something that we struggle with, or sharing something that's hard for us, or is a past trauma or pain. I think vulnerability goes way beyond that. That can certainly be a part of it. I think it goes way beyond that. I think vulnerability can be sharing your hopes, your dreams, things that you're excited about, sharing even things about your day or your environment or about the people you know, in a way where you show a little bit of who you are. So just to give you an example, it might sound like if you're talking about traveling and maybe you're having a conversation about why you love to travel, instead of just saying something like, I've been to 17 countries, I'd love to go to Europe again, that's one of my favorite places, and what about you? That's fine. That's conversation. But if you say something like, I love to travel, and one of the reasons I love to travel is that I love understanding more about different people and cultures and tasting their food. And I'll never forget showing up in Piazza San Marco for the first time in Venice and just being blown away. Like, it almost brought me to tears to be in this incredible, historic, beautiful place in Piazza San Marco after arriving at the airport and then taking the boat to get there. That's a moment I'll never forget in my life. You see, I'm sharing a little bit like a heart glimpse, a little something that shows something about who I am and why I'm passionate about something. Instead of just saying I love to travel, I'm like giving them something to go on. They're seeing a little bit inside of me. Vulnerability can also look like letting a man know something you like or something you appreciate or something you would like or something that would feel so good to you. So if a man asks about something that you might enjoy doing, being willing to share and being vulnerable, or if there's something you don't really want to do, having the confidence to say that you don't want to do it, it's kind of like being real, right? The vulnerability is like being real. Because a lot of times we go through life with a bit of a facade on. We all do that because we want to look good. We want to avoid looking bad. And so it's kind of like letting someone see glimpses of who you really are. Now, this doesn't mean you let someone know all of your challenges and issues and past traumas like on the first date. It just means you open up a little bit. And this is incredibly attractive and can be a big turn on. And a side benefit is this makes it easier and more comfortable for a man to do this with you as well, for him to open up and share. So number 2, that was number 3. Number 2 is your receptivity. So one of the things that we always hear is that men like to please you, that men like to do things for a woman. Men even fall in love by doing, by making effort, by putting intention and attention into something. They tend to value that more. And that's great. And a lot of times as women, especially if we've been single for a long time or we haven't been with a man that we could rely on, we learn to be very, very self-sufficient and independent to the point that sometimes we're not as open or receptive to receiving what a man has to offer. And when a man feels that what he has to offer, whatever that is something that pleases a woman, and she's receptive to what it is he's offering, whether it be his time, his attention, him taking you out, him opening the door, him helping you on with your coat if you enjoy those things, him doing something nice for you or helping you out in some way or giving you a piece of advice or, just being of service in some way. If he can do that and if he can feel that you are graciously receiving it, when I say graciously receiving it, meaning that you're enjoying it and that you're acknowledging and appreciating him for it, that's going to feel really good to him. And that's going to be a big turn on. So that's number 2. And number 1 is your eyes. So they say the eyes are the window to the soul. And we've already talked about the lips and the smile and you lighting up. But when we light up, when we see a man, that's going to be incredibly powerful. Our eyes can speak. Our eyes can speak when we're excited, when we're happy, when we're pleased to see someone, and a man's going to notice that. Our eyes are also a way that we can make contact. We can show a man that we're interested by making eye contact and by listening to him when he speaks. And I can remember years ago when I was doing some interviews for one of my interview series, interviewing a lovely lady named Cherry Norris, a lovely dating coach. And she talked about the 6-second smile. But the smile, it wasn't just the smile for 6 seconds. Like if you saw a man across the room, you could smile and be a Mona Lisa type smile. Doesn't have to be a broad, goofy smile. But it was also making eye contact and holding that eye contact for 6 seconds. And she believed that if you did that, that would indicate to a man that it would be safe for him to approach. And it's not easy for men to take the risk many times to approach women, but our eyes can communicate a lot, and our eyes with that eye contact, or especially combined with a warm smile, like the 6-second smile, can be an indicator for a man that we would be safe to approach. And our eyes can be the way that we can let a man know that we're paying attention to him, that we're listening to him, that we're noticing him. So our eyes are incredibly important and can be very, very sexy. And of course, so many women have such beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous eyes. And that is certainly one of the physical attributes that many men notice first, or among the first things that they notice. So don't leave now. I have a special gift for you, and I want to make sure that you get it. Be sure to click on the link below. But before we wrap up, I'll just go from 7 to 1 more time, and then be sure to pick up your gift. 10 things every woman needs to know about men. It's an audio and an ebook, and it's also based on my conversations with men. So number 7 is your touch. Number 6 is your lips. Number 5 is your confidence. Number 4 is your compliments. Number 3 is your vulnerability. Number 2 is your receptivity. And number 1 is your eyes. So these are 7 more sweet things that are a turn on for men. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment or question in the comment section below. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I'd be honored to have you here. I'd be honored to have you be a part of this community and honored to have you watch more of my videos. If this has been valuable to you, feel free to share it. And also be sure to pick up that free gift. The link is in the description and below. 10 things every woman needs to know about men. Thanks for joining me. Hope to see you here soon. Bye for now.